This is a short video to talk about the Neapolitan sixth chord. What is a Neapolitan sixth chord? This delicious chord doesn't just remind us of ice cream. Yum! It also sounds quite enticing too. Let's listen. First, there's the plain old vanilla 1, 2, 6, cadential 6, 4, 5, 7, 1 progression. Now let's listen to it with a little bit of Neapolitan flavor. That is 1, Neapolitan 6, cadential 6, 4, 5, 7, 1. Notice how the movement into the chromatic alterations adds a little bit of spice to a otherwise normative progression. Why the name? Why Neapolitan? Though we're really going to be looking at 18th century and 19th century uses of this chord, it was popularized by Neapolitan opera composers like Alessandro Scarlatti and Giovanni Battista Pergolesi. Wow, that was quite the exclamation of the Neapolitan chord, right? Maybe not. Let's move on. What kind of chord is it? Well, it's a major flat 2 chord. What? Well, it's a major triad that is built on the flattened second scale degree. Let's look at it. In the key of C major, 2 is usually going to be D natural. The Neapolitan chord, however, will be built on a flat second scale degree, D flat. And the quality has to be major, so that's D flat, F, A flat. We're looking at 2 chromatic intrusions, D flat, scale degree 2, and A flat, scale degree 6. Now remember, we talked about flat 6 in relation to modal borrowing. The Neapolitan, however, is not considered modal borrowing. It does not come from the parallel minor. Instead, we think of it as a chromatically altered 2 chord. Also note this Roman numeral. The flat is in front of the Roman numeral to show that scale degree 2 has been lowered to D flat. Most of the time, however, this chord appears in its first inversion, making it a flat 2-6, or a Neapolitan sixth chord. It would look like this. In the key of C major, the third of the chord, F, would be in the bass. That's right, Fa. It looks like a very simple predominant chord, but above it enter the pitches Ra and Le, giving it that special color of the Neapolitan. What's its function?
What is your major malfunction?
Whoa, where'd he come from? And I said function, not malfunction. Pay attention. Well, the Neapolitan sixth chord functions as a chromatically altered subdominant chord. That is, Fa is in the bass and Ra and Le are in some of the upper voices. Let's take a look at the voice leading. Notice the bass. If you just saw the bass alone, Do, Fa, So, Do, you would think this was a normative 1, 4, 5, 1 progression. However, if you zoom out, you'll see that there are some chromatic intrusions. Now, so far, we've looked at these chromatic notes as possible candidates for, say, a secondary dominant or secondary leading tone chord, or maybe it's some kind of modal borrowing. Here we have flat 2 and flat 6 behaving as a subdominant chord, which is the function of the Neapolitan chord. Notice the interesting soprano line, Do, Ra, Ti, Do. This is conventional voice leading into the Neapolitan chord, through the 5 chord, and back to the tonic chord. Let's look at the voice leading now, in which The soprano line doesn't have to go Ra to T or some kind of weird diminished third. Instead, if you want to have a more linear melodic line, you might pass through the cadential 6/4 progression so that you get a Do, Ra, Do, Ti, Do. Let's listen to this. And now with all the voices. On that note, I think that's all we have time for the Neapolitan 6, because it is definitely time for a cup of coffee.